See how that works out as well.
A lot of CC, I think, is going to be what Afreeca is reliant on in this first game, because the scaling is just not as comfortable in terms of front-to-back 5v5 team fighting. And a lot of this, again, is going to be reliant on Fly's Wild Growths onto Dread. And the... Oh, hold that thought, as we were going to see a group up here. This is becoming more common on the bottom side of the map. Win. Because Karma, you don't want to let her have level 2 fast. That's bad. So she wants to go down there and group up and get that minion lead. So sometimes you try to punish, but as you say, spotted. So this is the walk of shame everyone's going to have to take together.
And this is generally when the opposing team would go into the red side jungle, put down a ward, but nobody's actually done it. I think they only spotted a couple of people down in the bottom side. So they don't know 100% that all 5 people were there. And that's just fine. Looks like it's going to be the re-invade of their red side jungle, but nobody's actually here. As Hanwha did not get any wards in or any people in for any kind of counter invade.
Yep. So being bloodless, fightless, no skill shots exchanged, kind of level 1 here. So, you know, there is a lot of initiation in team fights for Afreeca, but they don't have solid, you know, ranged damage. Kallista's going to have to be really in the thick of things to make sure that she does actually do damage later on. If she gets fed, you know, that's a bit of a different story, right? If she ends up having a very dominant laning phase, she can be strong in the later parts of the game. I mean, it's by basically preventing us from going there on even footing. But a lot of this game is going to be reliant on the crowd control effects, and even Lehens is going to really have to pull his weight in those later game team fights here. And he's going to often be vulnerable when he tries to flank against this Akali and the Hecarim. So the more I look at this, I'm like, feels like this is a very difficult composition to pull off for Afreeca.
Well, it helps when you have a guy like Keen in the top lane, because, again, they were holding counterpick for this. Take a look at the one person who was able to win this matchup in the opposite way. It was Keen.
Both
twice. Yeah. So, if anyone understands this matchup, it's probably this player. And this is definitely, in my mind, I mean, this might even be a bigger mismatch than Chovy versus Fly. I might get a lot of hate for saying that, but Keen is just, especially right now in summer, this feels like the roughest matchup in this game.
Yeah, I do agree, especially in the early parts of it. And if you make one mistake, like Gangplank is a champion that, you know, as you mentioned earlier, scales very well. This Dread is going to hover around here, so I'll hold my thought on this.
Oh, the flash. They are not messing around. The slow's going to miss. And so no follow-up. And just take a look at this. I mean, early levels, Akali just gets absolutely destroyed in this lane. And Keen is showing exactly why.
And what I was going to say, too, right before we had that gank attempt is, if you end up dying here, if you make a mistake and Sheen gets online for Keen early, then you can actually lose the entire game because of that. Like, look at him go. He's like, all right, I hope you're not back into this bush, because if you were...
Keen's like, I'm going to start diving the second turret now.
And
he's denied so much XP up there.
He's denied a ton of experience. He's denied a lot of money. And just instantly teleports back to lane, and he's going to start it all over again.
Fly doesn't have flash, but neither does Chovy. And look at this counter gank. It's perfect. Arthur, are you even going to be able to get out of here? He doesn't have flash himself, and he already used the ghost. Dread is there on time, and Fly even gave them the thumbs up before it all happened. He knew. He saw the lines.
Yeah, I mean, when you trade flash like that, oh, speaking of which.
Nice try. that would have been really sick, but maybe
very
a bit
flashy.
Too aggressive, yeah.
Yeah, that was a Dread move right there, but look, I mean, 2 aggressive flashes here from Afreeca give them a pretty nice lead. The first one obviously much more valuable than the second there. And he is showing us that he went for Hex Flash, so it's not like it was not the craziest move of all time. But what I'm scared about is kind of going back to what you're saying in the top side of the map. Dudu really needs to actually hang on up there and make sure that he does not fall too far behind. But if he does, you know, end up actually surviving the early parts of this, he can start to actually win some trades, and with Arthur's help, really turn it around. It's just the early part of this matchup that, and the fact that it's Keen, that makes this so horrifying.
Yeah, horrifying, a good way to describe it. As seems like they know that Dread is here. You mentioned the Hex Flash. Here we go again. Def just gonna have to flash away. trading that for the Hex Flash always going to be nice. And Dread actually lands it again. But maybe he went a little bit too far, but no, baiting in Depth to take a ton of damage. The Ignite, unfortunately, was on Vista. If that was on Depth, could have been a little bit more, but here comes the Horsey. Arthur trying to make a move now. Onto the three of them. Dread says, get out of our lane, and is able to push them back.
I mean, Afreeca are looking really good across the map. Sure, they didn't end up getting a kill on the bottom side, but like you said, Hex Flash for a Flash is an amazing trade. You know, you're exactly where you need to be as Dread to actually catch the aggression here. And yeah, that was...
Guess who's back?
Yeah.
Back again! Dread is back, and he gets a kill.
Tell a friend.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to go do the whole verse, but, you know. This is just, I mean, Dread is showing why this combo can be so ridiculous, even before level 6, and he is totally putting on a clinic in the jungle right now.
He really is. I mean, Hanwha are not getting anything back on the map whatsoever. There's no part of the map you look at and you go, well, at least they have X. You know, they don't actually have any advantages here, sadly. A lot of summoners down, and that was started by Dread from the beginning. He actually took tempo advantage for summoners. Now Keen, level 6 here. I don't think he can actually force a dive, but he can force a plate, and Dudu is just struggling to CS. He has a ward here, so let's see if he can get out.
All right, let's see. Dudu is incredibly low. I think Keen is looking for the turn, but Keen himself not exactly tanky. He lands the shot, though, and he's going to get the kill onto Dudu. Just like that, is able to turn the 1v2
and he gets
so
away.
easily.
He gets away so easily, too. Like, it's not just like, oh, he flashes forward and gets a kill. He actually escapes with his life. And this is such a disastrous start for Hanwha Esports. Afreeca are schooling them in every single lane. We knew this. I mean, look, it's 2 lanes where you're going to have massive prio, right? The bottom lane, you're going to have total control,
Guess
but
who's
Dread...
back? Def doesn't have flash. He is so dead. He is so unbelievably dead.
It's a double.
Same for Vista. Dread is just laughing at them as he's 4-0, 7 minutes into the game.
I mean, this game is basically over. I don't know what to tell you guys at home. I mean, 2 lanes where you have prio, right? You have the Akali matchup that's going to go so horribly into Keen's Gangplank, right? And then you have Kalista into Ezreal early, even though it's the Ezreal Karma. But Dread has made an impact in all 3 lanes this game. As let's watch Keen in first person. There's the barrage onto Dudu.
I think I got him. That's what he says.
Okay.
Okay.
And you can hear Caster John in the background screaming.
Yeah.
As we see this once again. Really nice knock up there from Lehens. Dread gets the follow-up there in the extended exchange. And I mean...
You both have no flashes. You're Ezreal Karma, so you're like, oh, maybe we should be okay. But they had 0 vision in their own jungle. There was a control ward where Arthur is standing right now for Afreeca, just 2 minutes prior, or I guess 1 minute, when that gank did happen. And, I mean, they were just so far down the lane. It was such an easy cleanup for the bottom lane of Afreeca.
Arthur is hanging around this bottom side once again. Leo's at half health, but Afreeca are very happy to send under turret here while they get the Rift Herald. So you have to make something happen here, Arthur, and you're so late, sadly. The wave is gone, so you actually can't make this happen anymore, I don't think. I mean, they're going to try to push this through, but the bot duo backs off, so slightly a little bit mistimed here, even with the commitment from Chovy down to the bottom side. And yes, you can turn this into a Drake play, but it's a solo Cloud Drake, and this gold lead is starting to explode, and it's not over yet.
Yeah, here we go again. I mean, Dread, he's got a Lulu behind him as in he goes. Dread is actually going to have to flash away. Wild Growth finally comes out. He's holding on to that one for a while as the Dire Wolves logo comes out for some reason out of Arthur. Just throwing that one in. And
Chovy?
Now Chovy's trying to get some damage, but it's not going to be enough. And they will, in fact, get away.
Deft is in this Drake pit. Don't have vision. he's got a ward in the pit, he's got a ward in the brush, and knows he can shift over the wall and get out just fine. He's actually going to stop these backs. Meanwhile, the top side of the map, we haven't really zoomed in on it in a little while. It's not good news.
I think we know how that one's going.
He actually picked up the Hex Drinker early instead of going for the Sheen.
Yeah.
So he's unstoppable now, basically.
Yeah. I mean, the one way that Keen dies is to some kind of Akali burst, perhaps with some help from a Hecarim, right? So if he can deny that, you just never lose. You're never going to lose unless you make a big mistake yourself. He was 2 levels up, now he's only 1, but I mean, he is just unbelievable. He's so far ahead, like you can't even quantify it at this point.
I mean,
really.
it's not even, it's like there's two ways to be ahead as gameplay. Like sometimes you do go for the greedy snowball the lane and get a bunch of kills style, or you just do this where you're like, well, now I'm just going to guarantee that I can't be killed, and therefore Dread is going to have a lot more control over the map. Nice Ren there. Stop the back, but it's going to be so much extra control he has up there. He's so safe to continue to push, and he's playing for longevity here and safety more than snowballing a lane that, you know, at this stage isn't necessarily what he wants to do. Like, he doesn't actually need to ask Dread to come up here. He just wants to stay in the lane and stay ahead. Like, the lead he has now is significant enough. He doesn't need to push it any further.
Yeah. And we're going to take a look at total gold here. 3 players on the side of Afreeca ahead of everybody else. Arthur has the most gold on his team, even more than Chovy. Somehow, some way.
And that's because, and part of that is because he's been able to get a lot of extra camps because Dread has spent so much time ganking, right? So because he hasn't been able to make the same impact, and because Hecarim has a really fast clear time, he's at, you know, 94 CS to 69 right now, and it's a pretty significant advantage that he does have there. And I'm gonna see a big group up here for the Scuttle.
Yeah.
Hanwha trying to get anything they can on this Hecarim.
Dread will have to drop that Rift Herald here soon. Looks like he's actually thinking about killing Arthur first. He's actually down a level, even after all of those kills, and that kind of goes into what you were talking about with the fast clear.
Dudu should know this.
He's going to get hit, and he will be able to get away with the Shroud, but you would have to imagine they're looking for a first turret up here on the top side. Arthur is in position. I think they should know this. They're going to see it now.
Look at the vision control on the bottom side of the map, too. It's so immaculate. While all this is happening, I just want to point that out. Like, Afreeca have painted this map red. The whole bottom jungle is basically under their control. There's 2 control wards in the river. 3, actually, excuse me.
I wonder if they can kill him here. They're not going to try.
They can get a plate, maybe? No, not quite on that either.
They don't know exactly where the Karma is, but yeah, still going to be able to get a nice amount of poke and almost get those plates.
And when you have all this vision and all these wards that the observers are showcasing here, you know that you can just sit under the turret like that, even when the minion waves fade away, and threaten an Ezreal, maybe get that plate. I mean, they were almost able to do it. And this is a game where Afreeca have such control over every single aspect. I mean, the only thing that you can go back to, which feels like we're a broken record on this all season long, is that, well, Chovy's up in CS. But that's the only thing you could say positively about this game for Hanwha. And yes, of course, the things that we've been mentioning about Arthur in terms of his experience lead and the 20 CS lead that he has, but he hasn't been able to make near the impact on lanes that Dread has.
As Dread is going in once again, and he knew Arthur was there, right? They have the vision. And this is going to throw up the crab rave. What else can he really do at this point? You might want to argue like, oh, you know, you've got Chovy on your team. I'm going to have to hold that thought there. Not letting Chovy live at this point in time. He's going to be polymorphed, as he didn't even have flash. Nope, if he wasn't polymorphed. So he's just going to go down there. Easy peasy. Dread is just taking names in this first game.
He actually dodged Dread's skill shot there, too. I mean, Chovy did everything he could in that situation, but obviously, you know, sometimes you're just too far behind. Sometimes the early game snowball is so good, and we talked about it in the draft too. Like, Afreeca need to really get a big tempo advantage in this game, and they've gotten more than that. They've gotten more than they bargained for. You know, when we talk about comps like this, Kalista comps, you know, Xin Zhao comps, this isn't like the threshold we set. This is not the normal amount of like, okay, well, you need to do at least this with this kind of comp. No, this is way better than you even expect, like they even want.
Yeah.
It's time to turtle if you're Hanwha, I think, at this stage, because you're not going to win any exchanges here. You can't fight for this objective. Absolutely not. I mean, we're still 2 minutes away from it, but I don't think in those minute and 37 seconds that are left, Hanwha are going to get the tools they need to actually take a 5v5 fight.
Yeah, I mean, like we mentioned before the game even started, you've got a Kali Rise Ezreal. You think about the late game, and that's just an insane amount of damage. If they can get there, they'd like it. You know, they'd be fine, but at this point, it's looking like a pipe dream, as, you know, this early game is just so strong for Afreeca, and they're really pressing the issue, which is not something we see out of a lot of LCK teams, but as you can see here, they're not messing around.
Really nice sidestep there, like I mentioned from Chovy, but He's charmed by Rakan. Cannon Barrage is on top of him. I mean, what are you going to do?
A wild growth comes in, you know. The Xiao ultimate, or yeah, the knockup comes in.
Hopeful.
Okay, they're looking for Leo, and it's not going to happen. This is actually going to go down. And they have a lot, but they see Arthur coming down through the river as, guess what, on the other side of the map, Dudu's just all alone.
Guess who's back?
Dread is going to have to ultimate, though, as he's going to go down, and Dudu's actually looking to turn this around. He will go down, but he gets the shutdown onto the Xin Zhao, so feels like that's worth it, at least from his perspective.
I can't actually dislike or hate the Realm Warp attempt on the bottom side of the map. Like, I did say it was really hopeful beforehand, but when you're behind, these are the only types of plays you can really force when you have this composition. Use the fact that you have this really long engage tool into a lane that you know is isolated when you know Dread's on the other side of the map. I mean, that was a cool attempt. It does fail, but I really like that idea because you also get a lot of control now around the Drake. So I said they'll never be able to win a 5v5 fight here. However, because of that bottom push and attempt and that trade that happened on the top side of the map, they got a little bit more vision around this Drake. They might have been able to contest for it, but it's going to at least be a little bit less comfortable for Afreeca to take it. But the idea there, if you actually get the kill bottom side, the Drake comes with it. So look at this play. Lehens is there. They know Dread's on the top side of the map. He was pinged. And so this is a really nice idea. Vista, unfortunately, tanks an extra turret shot there, though, and this does get traded back.
Yeah.
I like the initiative that Hanwha Life took. Like, plays like this, we actually aren't seeing enough from Hanwha Life this season.
Let's watch Dudu here. Levels up his ultimate right before that. Sees the amount of damage Dread is taking and then just goes for it.
Timed it so well there.
나 죽긴 했어 일단. 일단 제압
Yeah,
포인트
I mean,
먹었다.
sure, he dies for it, but he's going to pick up that Rift Maker.
Yeah.
At least, glad we got to see that. He's like, well.
Yeah, I mean, he got the shutdown, as he mentioned, so.
Ton of extra gold.
Hashtag worth, I suppose. But beating Keen never feels good, you know? At the end of this, I look at that and I'm like, yeah, when you look at the numbers, probably worth, but I don't know. If you give Keen extra money, I can never feel good about that. He's 2-0-1. He's got the most farm in the game and he's gangplank. So I just want to see the gold numbers at this point to really kind of show the picture of just how far ahead he is.
It will be very offensive to some Hanwha Life fans to do so, but I think we will have to pull that ramp up at some point.
Oh boy, here we go again. Okay.
This time, I don't know. There's no minions here, though.
It's all 5 members joining for this.
And there's no minion wave.
And there's no dragon either. You know, if you're making a big play like this right before a dragon or something, I can see it, but feels a little bit desperate trying to make plays.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I liked it a lot more. This time, it's the second time you're just playing the same play. Unfortunately, it costs you a lot of control over the map, too, to make a move like this. And for what? Dudu's going to get that last wave on his way out, at least, consolation prize. I feel like everyone's pinging the top wave right now as I watch Rise, Hecarim, and Akali go up. Everyone on Hanwha Life is like, that money is mine! Because we're all starving, okay? But they will give it to Dudu in the end, which is absolutely the correct choice. But you can see 3 players walking over there to catch that wave, and that just tells the story of this game, unfortunately, right now for Hanwha Life. And they're going to lose control of the Rift Herald too. If they had to kind of back off, clear some of that vision out. They didn't have any idea where Afreeca was grouped. And they still don't. Like, for all they know, Rakan could be up on the top of the map. Unless he just stepped over that ward. But either way, you don't contest this as Hanwha.
Yeah. Second Rift Herald, just give it over at this point. Taking a look at the gold numbers here, as I was asking for, he is almost 2,000 ahead of Akali. And yeah, I mean, he's got the most in the game. Yep. 8.6 thousand.
He has more than Dread, who was able to get 5 kills in the early game.
A lot, actually a significant amount ahead of Dread as well.
It's kind of insane. 800 up, 900 up, kind of oscillating there. 1,000 up now.
Just ate a big wave there on the bottom side.
Well,
yeah, he's feeling pretty good. Just crossed the 200 marker on the CS. And another number to note is that Lehens is actually 2 assists away from hitting 2,000. Big milestone for this player, so keep your eye on that as well this game.
Yeah, I've been kind of peeking at it. Unfortunately, this game is more been about the top side of the map than it has been about him, sadly. So he hasn't been able to really hit that mark yet, but he's having a great game in his own right. Just hasn't been as flashy as Dread and Keen's, though he wasn't involved in some of those exchanges. they just have total control over the map. Though, if you look at the ward scores, you know, too, like Dread has cleared so many wards this game. He's been able to remove a lot of the vision from Hanwha Life. When we have a Fed Jin Zhao roaming around the map, if you're Vista, like, you don't ever want to be clearing wards. Like, you don't ever really want to be going anywhere alone. You have to have a bodyguard to actually even remove the vision control that Afreeca have. Look at Lehen's setup here.
You were just talking about him not being flashy, not setting up the plays. Is he going to go for it? It looks like Hanwha Life are playing passive enough to not allow that entry.
I mean, there's a control ward here in this brush, so he knows he can stand there.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that anyone can do to stop him. And when you don't have any information whatsoever about that, almost said Wraith camp, about that camp there, it's Wraiths in my brain right now, you can't actually know that you're safe to walk anywhere near that Rift Herald. You just have to give up that turret and sadly give up more gold to Afreeca Freecs. So, I mean, we have the Putrefier online now for Fly. So, you know, add that into the mix here. Can remove a lot of the healing. And Shirelli is sometimes the only item we see on Lulu when she's in these solo lanes, but 3 assists in a massive gold lead game here for Afreeca. Even the Lulu is something to be afraid of.
Yeah, just especially in combination with everything else. Like, that's really what their comp does. It's like a mid-game machine, and it's so difficult to get away from. As the Israelis did come in, but they weren't able to catch up this time around. And that's why when you looked at the Hanwha Life composition, they had a lot of ways to kind of disengage and nullify some of what Afreeca had. But when you're this far behind, it might not matter. You have 0 control over any objectives. The only thing they've gotten in this game is 1 kill.
Yeah.
That's it. No Drakes, no Heralds, no turrets. 1 kill.
1 kill is all they've got. I mean, the gold graph tells the story here. It's looking very bleak for Hanwha Life because even though they have this massive scaling advantage in an even game, because this game is nowhere near that, you're seeing, you know, a ton of vision now set up around this Baron. Hanwha Life either have to respond to this, or they may just have a Baron, you know, stolen from right underneath them, right? Because of the amount of farm and kills that Afreeca have. They can group up. Look at the question mark pings. Like, Hanwha Life right now, we're like, are they doing Baron? Because you know what? They could be. And even if they are, can we stop them? The answer is no. And, like, that's the worst feeling ever is Hanwha Life, where you're just playing Farm Simulator, hoping that maybe Afreeca have a very weak late game, and you can catch up. Now they do come in here and clear this out, which is very relieving.
For now. Before they get caught, because you can see that the second Afreeca sees enemy champion, they go for enemy champion. And Arthur's just gonna die here as Keen flashes in, picks up the kill, and that might be all the invitation they need to go for this Baron.
That's all they need. And you can't not clear that as Hanwha Life, unless you're just, you know, typing /FF in the chat. I mean, if you're not gonna play the game, you're not gonna play the game. You gotta try something.
Uh-oh. Well, it is a Kali. Good start here with the Zonyas. Isn't going to matter, though, as they have so much CC. She is actually
she's still a Kali
as a champion. Shroud certainly helps out with that. And Dudu has been having a nice game, everything considered. It just, you know, it's not fun to play against Keen.
Yeah, it's not fun to play against Gangplank early. It's not fun to play against Keen. It's not fun to play when you have 3 losing lanes. It's a nightmare, in fact. But he does actually, in fact, help delay and prevent the Baron. But it's one step, one baby step of many, right, that they're going to have to get back into this game. And, you know, the vision control is still there, right? The pings are coming down, like, repeatedly. You watch the pings. You see every blue ping you see around the Baron pit for Hanwha Life is like, could they be doing Baron? Should we be clearing that vision? I know they have vision control there. I've seen it with my own eyes, but can we actually group up? Last time we tried to do this, we got punished, right? And once again, you see the Karma. Karma's like, ooh, let me check this ward. Like, slowly move over, take out these zombie wards, get a little bit of vision control here. Okay, thank God nobody's here. I hope there's nobody on that top brush because I could die right now if I step one far over. He's like stepping forward, auto attack, kiting the ward as he gets back because there's just no info. And if anybody gets picked, you lose the Baron. You might lose the game. And we're only 25 minutes in, but
yeah, I mean,
I can't overstate how ahead Afreeca is.
You consider the amount of Baron damage they have with this comp as well, with Fed Gangplank. It's kind of annoying. Even just Gangplank Callista, I think, is enough. As we're trying to get on top of Fly, but again, he's Lulu with Shirelius, so Good luck with that. Didn't have a splash, so I actually don't mind the idea, and they will pick up this turret on the top side. There's a lot of standing gold on this map right now for Hanwha Life, so anything to try to catch up and get their scaling online is gonna push them in the right direction. Any extra minutes that you can buy to slowly catch up and have your better late game team comp potentially come online.
It also helps push Alulu away when you did just clear vision, so there's no great ward for her to teleport to, and you actually have the group up advantage, so it slows down this Baron control that Afreeca now get back, right? But it took a little bit longer.
Chovy, I think he's just dead. Yep. Yeah, he's just going to be flashed on, and he will flash away. He's very fast, so he does get away from that one. Not everybody on the side of Afreeca was jumping in there, otherwise it could have been a different story.
You can start to feel how Hanwha Life's comp can kind of pull Afreeca around the map a little bit if they're not grouped up. So, you know, even when Chovy has to back out there and flash, they're able to make a play.
Oh, wow.
There's the round warp.
Leo kind of just jumps into it, but again, he's so fast. With this comp, it's so annoying to catch anyone. But the counter barrage is used as well as the heal from Leo, so actually turns out to be, I think, a nice win for Hanwha in the end.
Oh, absolutely. This is definitely great for them. You know, you pull out a really huge, you know, global slow out of contention here. And now you can maybe even group up around this Drake because you have a lot of that vision removed. You were able to come and clear this earlier when Afreeca was hovering around the Baron pit, unsuccessfully taking it, right?
Yeah.
You can actually, you know, get in here and do a lot.
No cannon barrage, right? This is a pretty decent time for them to fight, but with all the backs coming in, I think Afreeca might just say, or not Afreeca, Hanwha Life, they might just say, we're never going to win, it doesn't matter. So we just have to give this up. We just have to play for the super late game, otherwise we have no chance. Even after the cannon barrage is taken, they say, no, you can have the Mountain Soul. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah. Some items to point out. The Serpent's Fang here for Keen is going to make this Karma pick a lot less valuable here in this late game. It's still very strong, and she does still have Shirelius, and they have really, really strong mobility with the Realm Warp. But also, interestingly enough, Fly actually picked up Spell Thief's Edge here in the later parts of this game. So that's kind of a unique thing that you see Lulu's pick up sometimes. She'll be able to get a lot of extra wards and vision up in the later parts of this game. And Afreeca, I think with that Spell Thief's Edge purchase, they've kind of realized, like, okay, we are going to a bit of a late game here. We're unsuccessful in taking that Baron multiple times, and Hanwha Life are starting to scale up, so vision is going to become a lot more important. He actually buys 2 control wards too. So he is really trying to go all in on controlling where Hanwha Life Esports can engage from in terms of that vision.
And if I'm Afreeca, I want to make some plays soon, right?
You really need to.
I don't want to get into a position where Hanwha Life have 5 more minutes to scale and they haven't taken a Baron yet. I think you want to take this Baron now, or at least bait a fight and get some big objectives. Get an inhibitor down and really chip away at the base of Hanwha Life because, you know, the time is ticking, and if you get into a weird later game scenario with 2 big buffs up and you're being pulled across the map like this, like you mentioned, which is very important to mention with the amount of mobility and this kind of composition that they have, you got to be careful as Afreeca. This is something that we might see a better team just end much earlier, but that Afreeca might have trouble with.
Now they're going to start this Baron at Afreeca. Again, we talked about it before this game even started. They're so reliant on their CC in team fights. They do have a lot more damage than you would have had normally in a standard game because they were so ahead. But this is still winnable for Hanwha Life.
Here we go. They're going for the turn, and immediately Vista just evaporates in this one, as now they're going to try to get on top of Akali. They made that mistake last time, but they will be able to get his flash out. Chovy thinking about putting some damage in, but now with the Vista, with the Karma gone, they will return to the Baron, and let's go for round 2.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Vista isn't the most impactful person to lose for Hanwha Life, but this is still a 4v5 fight where you're behind.
Oh boy, Dudu here, I think he's just gone. Way too much damage coming out, and he will go down. As now Arthur going to be kited out, and now it's time for round 3 with the Baron.
I mean, we also have to mention the fact that we haven't talked about too much because we've had so much control. It's a 2 Mountain Drake, Mountain Soul here of extra stacking armor for this composition that's so significantly ahead. Like, does True Shot Barrage even do damage? Not really, but it's a Hail Mary attempt here. And they are going to grab a little bit of extra gold here. You talked about how getting all this standing gold on the map is really important for Hanwha Life to get back in this game. If they can defend this Baron, there is hope, right, in that Elder Drake fight. And sometimes we do see teams actually in the LCK, we've seen it already this season, where you go 0-4 on Drakes, but you have the better scaling comp, you win that miraculous team fight later, and you come back. So, in a weird way, Afreeca have had so much of a lead, but you can see the problems of their comp in some of these fights. Yes, you can see the CC connect here on the Karma. She gets blown up right away. You see Dudu get forced out of this fight, but the later parts of this game, it's felt like they've lost more and more control, and it starts to feel more and more winnable, actually, for Hanwha Esports every exchange we go through. As yes, Dudu does get caught here once again with a CC. It's a desperate situation, and they do have to try to do something to maybe contest this Baron so they don't lose all their inhibitor control, but it feels like there's still a little bit of hope here for Hanwha Life if they can actually, and we do 2,000 assists.
There you go, Lahen's congratulations in that last fight, which was a pretty flashy one. We'll give that to him. He picks up 2 more assists, and that is exactly 2,000 for this amazing player. Glad that he's kind of turning things up in recent times. I feel like he's doing really well on this Afreeca roster, especially for summer.
Look at his ward score, too, with everything that's happened in this game. Not surprising.
Oh, boy. This onslaught just never ends. And now they're going to find another one here. Vista is just... I mean, he doesn't get to play this game, okay?
Yeah.
Vista just sits there and dies. That's his role in this one.
They see Chovy's not here, and they walk past the turret and past the inhibitor to look for a kill. Finally, Afreeca really taking that initiative you were looking for.
Yeah. I mean, this is their comp. You engage, you CC, you blow someone up with your mid-game power. Chovy is going to be forced to come back. And Afreeca, I think they can just go for it here. Let's see how bold they do get with this push. Still a minute left on Baron. That's a ton of damage on Arthur. He is going to have to ult away from the fight. And that's their only engage, really. As now they're going to jump on top of Chovy. And here we go. The Karma Shields do come in. This is their one opportunity to get in there. But down will go Dudu. And down will go Arthur. Afreeca just way too far ahead in this game. And they will be able to clean up. And they will be taking game number 1 of this series. Keed picks up another kill. He will get the last kill of the contest, 5-0-5, just dunking